Om Shuklam Brahma Vicharasara Paramamadhyam Jaganvyapinim Veena Pustakadharinim Abhayadam Janyandhakarapaham Haste Sphatikamalikam Vitadhatim Padmasane Samsthitam Vandetam Parameshwarim Bhagavatim Buddhipradam Sharadam. Right, so we are still in the fourth mantra of the Shankara Bhashya on the Ishavasya-Upanishad. So I will share the screen. Maybe because of Christmas coming up also, everybody is already a little busy. Also often when I don't post again, especially in the group, that today is the session, then I mean tomorrow is the session, then this is the modern world, then nobody remembers that it was agreed on the 10th. So that's fine. Maybe we will keep a short class today because it's not easy language. In any case, you see here, go back here. Yeah, so we are still discussing this mantra, Aneja Dekam Manaso Javiyo Nainat Deva Apnuvan Purvamarshat. Tadhavato Nyan Atyeti Tishtat Tasminnapo Matarishva Dadhati. So the literal meaning is Anejat, unmoving, Ekam, one, Manasaha Javiyaha, faster than the mind. Na enat devaha apnuvan. The devas did not capture this purvam arshat. It ran ahead. Tat dhavataha anyan atyeti. It outruns, or it moves beyond, transcends the other runners. Tishtat, while standing still. Tasmin apaha matarishva dadhati. Into that, or within that, Matarishva, the primordial life energy, upholds apaha, the activities. So in the commentary, you will see here, we have now reached Tasmin, Atma Tattve Sati. So here, Nitya Chaitanya Svabhave. So here is quite a long sentence again. Shankaracharya has the tendency of making very long sentences. Actually, all ancient people did. Even people till 200 years ago did. When we look at Immanuel Kant, for example, I remember at university when I studied, his sentences used to be so long, so complex. So you can see this was a different type of intelligence at work. So that the sentence is, I will show you, it goes from here, Tasmin Atma Tattve Sati Nitya Chaitanya Svabhave Matarishva Matari Antarikshe Shvayati Gachatiti Matarishva Vayuhu Sarva Prana Bhrit Kriyatmakaha Yadashrayani Karya Karana Jatani Yasmin Otani Protani Cha Yat Sutra Sanyakam Sarvasya Jagato Vidharayitri Samatarishva Apah Karmani Praninam Cheshta Lakshanani Agnyadi Tyaparjanyadinam Jvalana Dahana Prakasha Bhivarshanadi Lakshanani Dadhati Vibhajati Ityartha Dharayati Tiva Bhishasmad Vatah Pavate Ityadi Shrutibhyah. It goes up to here. Yeah. So when you're used to this kind of Sanskrit, it's very easy to understand. But here we will go step by step. So now, first of all, Tasmin Atma Tattve Sati Nitya Chaitanya Svabhave. We just go up to here, just this part. It is only a part of the sentence. Maybe Bhavanisha ji, you could start. You are quite good at grammar. So just go word by word. I'll help you. It is not about going fast.
Sorry, I'm just having a bit of difficulty finding where we are.
Do you see my shared screen?
I do.
Okay, so we are here in this sentence.
Okay. And in the transliterated bit,
sorry. Yeah. Yes. Transliterated bit, we are here. Tasmin Atma Chaitanya, Tasmin Atma Tattve Sati Nitya Chaitanya Swabhave.
Just trying to find it on my copy as well. Sorry. I might
Sure.
take a while. Can you come back to me for the next one?
You are
Sorry.
in the fourth. We are in the fourth mantra. So if you look at the fourth mantra and then below that, there is the commentary.
Yes. Yeah.
So then, Rameshji, Tasmin Atma Tattve Sati Nitya Chaitanya Swabhave.
Tasmin means in the.
Yes, correct. Within that, correct.
Within that.
Atma Tattve.
Atma Tattva means Atma Tattva means the place. The reality.
Yes, the reality. Wonderful. Exactly. Sati means being present.
The reality of the Atma is
Tattva, being present. And then we have Nitya Chaitanya Swabhave.
Nitya means always.
Yes.
Chaitanya means the consciousness.
Wonderful. And Swabhave?
Swabhave means present.
You said presence, or what did you say?
Present.
No,
always.
Swabhave is more. I understand.
Nature. The nature.
Nature. Yeah, the Swabhav. Yes. It is more the nature than the presence.
Yeah.
So now, Bhavanija, you haven't been for a while, so let me explain the context. What is going on here? This is so profound. We can again and again we can go deeper and deeper. It is never a waste of time to repeat and to go deeper. So what is going on here is that the Upanishad has stated that there is something that is unmoving, anejat, which is faster than the mind and which outruns the other runners, the other faculties, while itself remaining still. And Shankaracharya then explains that this something is actually the Atma, Tattva, the reality of our self or our true self, our true nature. And in his commentary explains that everything else that we experience in our individual experiences through the mind, through our intelligence, through our karmas, through our bodies, is like an add-on. The word is upadhi. It is like an add-on conditioning. And the example that is often given in Vedanta is that of a crystal. Can you see this crystal, Bhavanijaji?
Yes, I can.
So the example is that of a crystal. So now the Atma Tattva, the reality of the Atma, is pure Chaitanya. It is just awareness, consciousness, knowing, experiencing. And it is like the crystal. And within this crystal, I've given in the previous classes also the same example. Within this crystal, if we add some light or something is added, then the color of the crystal seems to change. Can you see that?
Yeah.
It seems to change. But now the question is, by adding on something, a separate condition, Bhavnishaji, does the crystal itself actually change?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't actually. So, but how come it does seem to change? How would you describe this ontologically? In terms of language like reality, real, seeming, how would you describe this? Because you see, if you show this to a child, the child would say, yes, the crystal changes. But actually, it's just an add-on. It is an added condition which makes it seem to change, isn't it? But how would you say it in your own language?
It just changes its appearance.
Ah, exactly. So now this is expressed by Shankaracharya through the word iva and upadhi. Iva means seeming to, right? The appearance. And the word he uses is upadhi, that through some add-on condition, it appears to change, but doesn't in reality. And in reality, it is nirupatika, it is free of add-ons. And when it is free of add-ons, it is nitya chaitanya svabhava. It is of the nature of eternal consciousness. So this is the context, yeah? So all the things, our mind, our speech, our senses, you can see in the previous parts of the commentary here, mano, vag, indriya, prabhritin, etc. All these are considered to be upadhis, and all samsara vikriyas, all modifications, changes brought about by samsara, the samsara dharma, all that is actually absent in the Atma Tattva. Now we come back to the same example. The crystal is there, yes? The crystal is there, but now you can say, how are we saying that the added light is absent actually from the crystal? How come we are saying that? How would you describe that in your own language? The question is, how can Shankaracharya say that the Atma Tattva is in reality free from all the samsara dharmas and free from all the free from thoughts, free from speech, free from the senses? If you take this example, what does he really mean? How can he say that?
I guess because he knows what it should be. He's experienced it, so he knows the difference between the two.
Okay, the difference. But if we take the example of the crystal, then isn't it evident that there is light in the crystal? So how can we say the crystal is free from the light? Do you see? So he's saying that to use this example, Shankaracharya is claiming that right now, as I'm adding light to the crystal, he says the crystal is still free from the light. In which sense?
Its original structure.
Yes, and also, you already said it. It's only to us that the light seems to be in the crystal. It's being reflected, but actually nothing is happening to the crystal, isn't it? Would you agree? Nothing is actually happening to the crystal.
Yeah.
So in exactly that way, when all these upadhis are added, this is a very important word for you to remember. When all these upadhis, this endless samsara, all the sufferings, all the happiness, all your karmas, all your individuality, when all that is added to the pure consciousness of the Atma Tattva, still nothing is actually happening in the Atma Tattva. You understand?
Yeah.
But now the next part of the mantra says that it is because of the presence of this Atma Tattva that the primordial life force brings about all the activities of samsara. This is the next teaching we are going to analyze in detail. Now I want to give you the same example. Now the life force is this light. The primordial life force that he is talking about is actually this add-on light. And now Shankaracharya is saying, and the Upanishad is saying, that it is because of the presence of this crystal that the light is able to be reflected. Would you agree to that?
Yes.
And also Rameshji, would you agree to that? It's because of the presence of the crystal that this light is being reflected in it.
Oh yeah, there should be some medium to reflect it, otherwise.
Correct. So if you understand this, you have really understood a lot. Tasmin atma tattve sati nitya chaitanya svabhave. Within that Atma Tattva, being present, sati, this is the present participle of sat, being present. Within that being present, whose nature is continuous consciousness, Matarishva Vayuhu Sarva Prana Bhrit Kriyatmakaha, which brings about the activities of all those who carry prana, life force. Within that being present, it upholds or bears the activities. And now we will go through word by word. But for me, it's important that you understand the basic teaching, because then the word by word will be easier to understand. Is the basic teaching clear?
Yes.
So then I want to ask deeper, why is the presence of continuous consciousness, Chaitanya, awareness, which is the Atma Tattva, the true nature of the self, why is that the precondition like this crystal is the precondition for the light, for the add-ons, what would you say, Bhavanishaji? Why is that the fundamental ground of all being?
Sorry, why is the foundation of all being? Yeah.
So here, so the teaching here is that within this Atma Tattva, whose nature, Nitya Chaitanya Svabhava, whose nature is continuous consciousness, uninterrupted, continuous consciousness, within that being the ground, we could say, within its presence, the primordial life force brings about the activities of all beings. Why is the nature of the Atma Tattva described as continuous consciousness? And why is that particularly the fundament of all being?
I guess because it is the same as that broader consciousness, the underlying one.
Sorry, can you, somehow my sound is not so good. Can you repeat? Sorry?
Sorry, is it because it's the same as that primordial consciousness?
I'm not sure what you mean. So the question is, why is continuous consciousness described as the nature of the Atma Tattva?
Because it doesn't change what it is, it's just affected by the other things. It itself is constant.
Sure, yes, but that's like saying a circle is round. The question here is, why consciousness? Why not a different description? Maybe it's too deep, the question. Rameshji, what would you say?
Consciousness is always there. The others are add-on. So
yes,
that,
but
that
now,
temporary,
yes, sure.
This is permanent.
Sure, but now you're repeating the teaching. But my question is, why consciousness? Why the word Chaitanya, Nitya Chaitanya Swabhava?
It is Sat.
No, but now you're saying it is not Chaitanya, it is Sat.
Do you mean why Chaitanya as opposed to other things, like as opposed to a body or opposed to other physical objects?
Yes. Why the word Chaitanya? Why not something else? Why not Ananda? Why not, right, some other quality that we can think of? Is this very?
Is it because you need it to
be
able to understand? Is it because you need Chaitanya to be able to understand change in the other things? So it's something that comes before that.
Yeah. You're getting close. You're getting very close now. Imagine.
If I were to say that this is the experiencer, which means that's the only thing which is permanent. The others are experience temporary. So that's what I can think of. I can't think of that.
Yes. So now you're saying the experiencer, but that is actually consciousness is the experiencer. Without an experiencer, without consciousness, there is no experience occurring. The same way that without the crystal having the capacity to display the lights that are in the crystal, we could use different lights also, isn't it? Not just this white light. Without the crystal having the capacity to display these lights, the lights wouldn't appear. Well, they would appear on the iPhone, but not in the crystal, right? So it is such a, we can go on and on and on. And I know that for some, it might become a boring point, but if you understand that it is the very nature of consciousness to give rise to experience, then you understand that whatever phenomena, the endless universe, the world, whatever phenomena arise to consciousness actually require consciousness in order to arise. Do you understand this?
Yeah.
That is why it requires the presence of the Atma Tattva, whose own nature is continuous consciousness, which in itself, like a crystal, seems to be nothing. A crystal seems to be just transparent, isn't it? But it requires the presence of the Atma Tattva for the multiplicity of the upadhis to actually be experienced. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Also to you, Rameshji?
I think the conscience and consciousness all is probably I'm a bit confused and not clear. That's why probably I couldn't understand your question. Sorry.
Yeah, so if you see, the deeper we go into Advaita Vedanta, it is deeper and deeper understanding what the nature of consciousness actually is. What is, we shouldn't use the word consciousness trivially. We shouldn't just use it, as some kind of replacement word for God or for some other word. Actually, we must understand deeply what it actually means. That is the path of non-dualities, to understand what is consciousness. But anyway, I think basically you both understood. So now we have Matarishva. This is now from the mantra again. So Tasmin Matarishva. Who is Matarishva? Matari Antarikshe Shvayati Gachati Iti. That is the definition of Matarishva by Shankaracharya. So this is in the mantra. You can see here. Tasmin apo Matarishva dadatis. Now he's explaining the Vedic word Matarishva. Matarishva means Matari. Matari is the 7.1 of Mataha, mother, Mata, Matru, and it means in the mother. But the mother here doesn't mean like some mother or someone, but it refers specifically, according to Shankaracharya, it refers to the word Antariksha, Antarikshe. And Antariksha is simply the space that yes, it is like the space in between. Let us say we see the earth and we see the sky, and the space in between, what we would call space, is known as Antariksha. And that which moves, Shvayati, Gachati. Shvayati has a sense of to move, to like have some sense of movement, and Gachati is the translation of that. So that which moves in space is known as Matarishva, and it refers to Vayuhu, the primordial life energy, the wind, the primordial life energy, Sarva Prana Bhrit Kriya Atmakaha, whose nature is bringing about the activity of all those that carry prana. That is all of us, pranis. Bhrit means to carry, to hold. So it is because of the primordial life force, wind, that all of us carry life in us individually. Is it clear, the definition of Matarishva?
Yes.
Okay. And Matarishva also means, he explains in the next part of the sentence, Yat ashrayani karya karana jatani. This is all quite difficult Sanskrit. That's why I'm helping you here. Yasmin otani protani cha. And it is also that within which all things that are born from causes and effects, karya and karana, from causes and, we could say, conditions. We will talk about this in a moment. All things that are born from causes and conditions have that as their base, ashraya, that primordial life force. So here, there is something, yasmin otani protani cha, and within which they are otani, sort of woven, and protani, pervaded. So this is some very complex Vedantic and also Buddhist view that there is a dimension, a subtle dimension of reality known as the Karana Sharira, or the Sukshma Samashti Karana, or in Buddhism it is known as the Alaya Vijnana. And even in modern psychology, there was a psychologist known as C.G. Jung, Carl Gustav Jung, and he spoke about a collective subconscious. You might have heard of this term, that there is a level of reality, not the absolute reality, but a level of this conventional reality within which all causes and conditions of existence are held. like in a sort of ocean. And according to the Vedantic view, this is known as Matarishva, the subtle life energy, the subtle primordial life energy. And it is due to Matarishva that the causes and conditions of new births are then brought about. So in that sense, it is the Yat Sutra Sangyakam. It is also known as a sutra, sutratma. It is like a thread upon which the conditions and causes of our karmas are held together. Sarvasya Jagato Vidharayitri. Maybe one of you can translate, maybe Bhavanishaji, you can try. Sarvasya Jagato Vidharayitri.
Sarvasya, of everything.
Yes.
Jagato is the it's from
Jagat.
Is it the
It is Sarvasya Jagataha, is the same as Sarvasya Vishvasya.
is it the genitive?
Yep.
So of the whole world.
Yep.
Vidharayitri.
Vidharayitri.
Vidhara.
Vidharayitri.
Few words here. There's Vidhara and
Yitri is like Kartri. The re-ending word has the sense of agency. So it is like Kartri, Dhatri, Dharayitri. So I'll help you. It means the sustainer.
Okay. What's the root of it? I can't find it on the dictionary.
The root is Dri. So Vidharayati is from the root Dri, like Dharma, actually. And Dharayati is the causative, the Yanganta form of Dri. So to cause, to uphold. And then Vidharayitri means specifically. So to specifically cause, to uphold, in the sense of to sustain.
Ah, okay.
And that is Saha Matarishva. That is Matarishva, he says, right? That is the definition of Matarishva. So quite a complex definition of what Matarishva is. Now, what you need to understand, both of you, is Matarishva is not the same as Atma Tattva. The Upanishad is saying it is within the Atma Tattva, whose true nature is consciousness, that Matarishva, which is the upholder of all the activities in the universe, exists or upholds the activities. Do you understand? So it is not that the Atma Tattva is Matarishva. It is through the Chaitanya of the Atma Tattva that Matarishva, the primordial life energy, is able to uphold the activities of the universe and of beings. Matarishva being that thread-like existence upon which or within which all the causes and conditions of existence are woven.
Is that because?
Yeah.
Is that because it's our own kind of subjective perceptions of things that create reality? So you need to have that experiencer in order to have things that are created. This
yes. Oh yes, for sure, for sure. Rameshji, are you also still with us? I know it is very complex or very deep.
Yeah. I'm fine.
So it is like we can speak of, there are like different layers of reality. Yes. So now we are sort of on the top layer. Top means on the surface, I meant, not on the top. We are like on the surface. And on the surface, it seems that there is Bhavanisha, there is Ramesh, there is Vidyabhaskar. I have my mind, I have my thoughts, I have my feelings, my speech, my karmas. But then deeper than that, there is a more cosmic, a more universal level, which is known as Matarishva. which is like a kind of when we die, that is what carries, like a sutra, like a thread. It is that which carries our identities into the next life, right? It is like a receptacle, some kind of, like a vessel, you understand? Through which
container or holder which has
it's like a
everything.
yes, wonderful. It's like a container. But even that container, that vessel, ultimately requires the presence of the Atma Tattva, whose nature is continuous consciousness. So that is the most fundamental reality. Is it sort of clear? Yeah. So now within, so that Saha Matarishva, that Matarishva, Dadhati, this is the verb, dadhati, upholds. This is not dadati, but this is dadhati, from the root dha, to hold. So that Matarishva upholds or holds, upholds, apaha, karmani, the karmas. Whose karmas? Pranina. 6.3 of prani, of living beings. And also, what kind of other karmas? Not only the internal karma, so it's not only Bhavnishaji's life force, not only your mental activities, your individual activities, it's also the cosmic activities. So the Cheshta Lakshanani, characterized by activity, Agni, Aditya, Parajanya Adina. So the activities of fire, the sun, the rain, and so forth. Jvalana, Dahana, Prakasha, Abhivarshana, Adi Lakshanani, characterized by blazing, burning, illuminating, raining, and so forth. Right? So in a simple language, he's saying that not only our individual karmas, but also the activities of the cosmic activities. In a modern language, we would say the laws of nature, right? We would say gravity, and so on, chemistry, all these laws of nature that cause that make the external conditions possible, the internal conditions possible. All these are upheld by what we know to be Matarishva. Vibhajati, he assigns these various activities, iti artha. This is the meaning. Dharayati iti va, or he upholds them, like the Taittiriya Upanishad says, Bhisha asmat vatah pavate. Vatah, even the wind, pavate, blows from awe, Bhisha, of this asmat. Iti adi shrutibhyaha. It is through its presence, its power, that the laws of nature work and unfold, according to these shrutis. Is the teaching clear? I helped you a lot here. Is it clear somehow?
For me, I think so. Yeah.
So then we can finish the sentence, and then we can go into the weekend. Sarvaha hi karya karana vikriyaha. Maybe Bhavanishaji, you can try. Sarvaha hi karya karana vikriyaha.
All of these things, he sort of emphasizing that sarva, so indeed.
Vikriyaha means the changes, the changing modifications.
So the changing modifications of the karana, the meaning of the causes of these actions, karyas.
Yes, these the effects and the conditions, the causes and effects, we can say. So sorry, we're down here. So all these modifications of the causes and effects, Nitya Chaitanya Atma Swarupe Sarva Aspada Bhute Sati Eva Bhavanti iti Artha. So all these modifications, Eva Bhavanti, how would you translate Rameshji? Sarvaha Vikriyaha Eva Bhavanti.
Eva bhavanti means eva thus bhavanti is.
They are
They are
only Nitya Chaitanya Atma Swarupe Sarva Aspada Bhute.
permanently. The consciousness is permanently present.
Is permanently present, and they exist or they occur only within the perpetual or continuous Nitya Chaitanya Atma Swarupa, the nature of the Atma, Sarvaspada Bhute, which is the, how can I, or maybe, what do you find on Aspada if you look it up? I'm interested. I will also see.
Lots of meanings for this one.
The abode, right? That's not bad, right? It is the abode within which everything is occurring. It is like the ultimate abode, we could say. Sarva aspada bhuta. So, and all these causes and conditions occur only within that. Iti arthaha, this is the meaning.
We are not only talking about the soul, the Atma here, we are talking about everything, the container, the Matarishva, which holds everything, whatever is happening in the universe.
No, you completely misunderstood. The word Atma in Advaita Vedanta is everything. It is not, doesn't mean soul. This is how it is used today, my Atma, your Atma, but this is a completely different usage. What people mean today is the word Jivatma. Jivatma is your individual Atma, Bhavnishaji's individual Atma, my individual Atma. But the word Atma in Advaita Vedanta always refers to the absolute reality. Nitya Chaitanya Atma is not just your Atma or my Atma. It is always the absolute Atma. What you maybe, Rameshji, know as Paramatma, right? You might know it only under the word Paramatma, but in Advaita Vedanta, the word Atma and the word Paramatma means the same thing.
Okay.
So, but here it's almost the opposite of what you said, Rameshji. Matarishva, so you see, if I were in presence of you, I could show you this better. How can I show this? So Matarishva is like a cosmic vessel, yes, within which everything is occurring. But beyond that cosmic vessel, there is the absolute Atma of pure consciousness, due to which that cosmic vessel is arising in the first place. And it is within that cosmic vessel that causes and conditions and their modifications occur.
Okay,
So,
I understand.
is it somehow clear?
Yeah.
So in the example of the crystal, it is not, the Matarishva is not the crystal. Matarishva is you could say, within the crystal, that which gives rise to the reflections. It is the Atma which is the crystal. So we need to distinguish sort of layers of reality. The absolute reality is the Atma Tattva. Then more coarse than that is this cosmic vessel known as Matarishva. And within that, the causes and conditions, all your individual lives, my individual life arises and occurs. So maybe you can take the word Sutratma with you, Sutra Sanyakam, that Matarishva is known as Sutra. It is the thread that passes through all of this conditioned existence that we have here. But don't worry, we will go into this again and again. Do you have any questions before we finish?
I have one. So what's the difference between the Atma, Paramatma, and what is referred to as Brahman?
No difference. It's absolutely identical. These are synonyms, and unfortunately, in sort of modern languages, people think that Atma means soul, but actually the word is Jivatma. that is what you would translate with the word soul. But you see, the word soul is a Christian word, actually. Please don't think this is now a talk against Christianity. Absolutely not. I'm clarifying linguistically something, right? That when Rameshji says just Atma means soul, right? Rameshji just says that, without thinking. But actually, the word soul, I'm talking about the English word soul, has a very specific background and comes from particularly Christian, Jewish, Islamic context. And again, this is not a talk about religions. I'm just explaining from the language point of view. Do you understand? I'm trying to refine your thinking. We need to understand Advaita Vedanta within the language of Advaita Vedanta. Yes?
Yes. So
So
why are there two words that are separate? What are the roots of them? Are there any sort of nuances between them?
yes, it's nuances. So why is he using different words, or why does the Upanishad use different words? Because you see, you can speak of Brahman as simply what it is, without reference to your embodied, conditioned being. You can just say Brahman. That's just the absolute reality. In a Buddhist context, this would be known as Dharmakaya or Buddha nature, right? But then the question is, no, actually, I said it wrongly. In the Buddhist context, it would be just the Dharmakaya, the true Dharma body, not Buddha nature. But then the question arises, but what is this Dharmakaya or Brahman in reference to you? And there is where the word Atma Tattva comes in. It is the reality of ourself or our true nature. But by that, we don't mean something like an individual soul. The word used for that is Jivatma. And in Buddhism, the word used for that is Budgala. They have specific words for that. So we have to distinguish here very clearly, what are we talking about? Atma Tattva, if we just translate Atma as soul, we are missing the point here. Because if you see that the Upanishad is saying that it is in the presence of the Atma Tattva that the whole universe exists, how can we translate Atma just as soul? Do you agree, Rameshji?
Yeah, I agree. So there is a slight, actually, not a slight, it's a big difference between this teaching and what I learned in the other place. So that's why I wanted to,
Yes.
yeah, I
So
understand.
we have to be very clear about the subtle meanings that we use. So because it makes no sense in English if we say it is due to the presence of the soul that all the activities of the universe take place. Does that make any sense, Bhavani? You grew up in the UK. If someone says this, it is due to the presence of the soul that all the activities of the universe take place. Does that make any sense in English?
I think it does, because it shows that you need to have that sort of awareness of something going on to be able to know that something else is happening. So, I mean, you could say to an extent that it is all just in our heads, but you don't.
Yes, but you see, now you already have a Vedantic background. My question is, for an English-speaking person, if you go to your, let's say your neighbor, and you tell them, do you understand this teaching? It is due to the presence of the soul, whose nature is pure consciousness, that all the activities in the universe take place.
Oh, I suppose not.
And why? This is now the question. Is it because they don't understand this teaching yet? Or is it because we have used the word soul, which means something totally different to them? And that shows us we should not use the word soul when speaking about Atma Tattva. Do you see?
Yeah.
This is the proof that we shouldn't use the word soul, because the word soul is infused with different meanings in English, meanings that are not present in Advaita Vedanta. Exactly. That's why it's better to use the word Atma Tattva and then to explain what we mean by it. Rameshji, would you agree?
Yes, I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
So this is my big task in life, I'm joking now. My big task in life is to stop people from using the word soul. No, it's not meant like that, If, poetically, if you want to use the word soul, no problem, poetically. But if you want to understand the depth of Advaita Vedanta or Buddhist teaching also, then we must be very careful with words. Poetically, I have no problem with the word God. But you see, the word God in English comes with a range of totally different meanings than the word Brahman. It's almost opposite, because Brahman is absolute consciousness, which contains all existence, which is the ground of all being. Whereas the word God in English refers to a being, an all-powerful being, who gets angry in the Old Testament, and so on. Would you agree, Bhavani Chachi?
Yeah.
So then why are we using the word God?
We shouldn't.
There we go. It's a simple proof. So the word God means something totally different to people than the word Brahman. So why are we using the word God to translate Brahman? It makes no sense. So, but you see, it requires some level of scholarship and little bit of, readiness to listen, to actually understand something like this. Because otherwise, when people hear this, they just say, oh, Vidyabhaskar says we shouldn't use the word God, right? They sort of become emotional about it. But no, it's once you understand the point, then you sort of say, okay, maybe we shouldn't use the word God to translate Brahman. Maybe we should use Brahman to translate Brahman. Maybe you understand, yeah?
What's the etymology of Brahman? What's the root?
From brih. Brih means to swell. So Brahman is defined as Brihmate niratishaya mahatvena, that which swells with unexcelled greatness.
Okay.
And now you'll be surprised, the definition of the root shun, which is the root shvi, actually, of the word shunya, is exactly the same. It also means to swell. So this is very ironic, because if you understand something about the history of Indian philosophy, Buddhists used shunya, shunyata, as the definition of the absolute, and Advaita Vedantins used Brahman, but the root brahm and the root shvi means exactly the same thing. So this is like an insider, like a secret.
What's Shri? What's the context of it?
So the Buddhists use the word shunya, emptiness, to refer to the absolute reality. But the root meaning of the root shvi, which is the root of shunya, emptiness, is the same as of the root brim, which is the root of Brahman. I'm talking grammatically. Panini gives the same word, exact same word, as the vardhana, to swell, to grow, for both of them.
Okay.
You can check it yourself if you don't believe that. You can look at the Dhatu Pata, which is where Panini gives the basic meanings of the roots, and the root of Shunya and the root of Brahman is exactly the same meaning. Yeah.
Wow.
All right, so let us finish here. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.